talking about literal must-wins. And that's where we're at today. Here's the stat fresh from Josh. Since the turn of the century, 117 teams have started 0-3. Only one team has made it to the playoffs. So if your team is 0-2, brew move. And you have the Giants. It might not be a figurative must-win. It might be a literal must-win. First up, the Chiefs in New York against the winless Giants, who, to their credit, were a field goal away from beating the Cowboys. Russ looks rejuvenated. Mahomes looking to break the first 3-game losing streak of his career. Here's the stats when you give them a look. Facing the Giants since week 6 of last year. Quarterback 13-1, passer rating 101. 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not good for the Giants. Coach, you are the reigning. Oh no, Greg is the reigning champion.
Yeah.
So that seat has the power. You can pass or play here.
I'll play.
Okay, here we go.
This is must find a way to win. So we just saw the record broken 2 games ago, where they had 17 straight games where they won in 1-score games. Last year was 12 games where they won in 1-score games. Now it's 2 games in a row where they can't win in 1-score games. And they're finding ways to lose. They're dropping touchdown passes. They're missing field goals. They're going for it on 4th and 1. They can't get that done. And you're sitting there, and I'm sure they're sitting there, and they've got to overcome a little bit of overconfidence. So even though they're 0-2, everybody's telling them how great they are. Everybody.
Who's telling them how great they are?
How great they are.
That's a canard.
And all they're doing is overlooking the Giants. And it's human nature to think, okay, well, now we'll get back on track. We're playing this other team. They're not even an NFL team. They're the Giants. We beat them all the time. So they're going to walk into this game, or sleepwalk into this game like they have the whole season and the Super Bowl, and think that they can't possibly be beaten by the New York Giants. This is an absolute must-win, must-find a way to win, and also must not be overconfident going into this game.
Listen, wow, Coach put
What a start.
Coach put a little too much dip on that chip before being First of all, no one is singing all of the Chiefs' praises. They don't always beat the Giants because they never play the Giants. They play the Giants once every 4 years.
They beat them 100 times in a row.
No. That was the whole league playing the Giants since week 6.
Yeah. Terrible graphic.
Now he's taking shots at Josh. But the one thing Coach said that is correct is this truly, absolutely is a must-win. Not even because I care as much about Wild's 0-3 stat, because I do think it's a little different because the expanded playoffs and because none of those teams that were 0-3 had Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. But I'm not interested in sneaking into the playoffs. You know what I mean? Do you know how awkward it is for everyone involved to hold the Arrowhead Invitational and have the Chiefs not be a part of it?
Weird.
It's weird. You're going to have to refund tickets, seats, PSLs, the whole thing. And if they lose this game, while I wouldn't write them off for the playoffs, they are clearly nothing close to a contender. And so that would be devastating. Conversely, when they win this game, they then win week 4, and we're absolutely fine. Split with Philly and Baltimore, no problem. Lost a tough divisional game. Plan was to go 5-1 in the division anyway. We just lost one early. I'm not on the team, Coach.
They're overconfident. Of course we're going to.
They're not going to be overconfident.
Shouldn't even play the game.
And I think everyone is going to be extra locked in as the team's birthday present
that
to
would
Patrick,
be
who turns 30 today.
That would
Happy
be the first
birthday,
time
Patrick.
this season.
Yeah, it has to happen eventually. And Xavier Worthy's back.
This is the most obvious must-win in years. All right, so they're right about that. And I won't call it a literal must-win because I agree with Nick. 0-3, I'm not writing the Chiefs out of the playoffs. But it could, in retrospect, have been a literal must-win.
Sure.
Because look, I'm not going to be peacocking about my Ravens beating them until they beat them, all right?
Sure.
So that's a game the Chiefs could win. But still, if they lose to the Giants, 1-5 is really on the board. And that's, I'm assuming they would beat Jacksonville. But 2 of their next 3 would be Detroit and the Ravens, right? So if you go 1-5, I'll give them, say, 1-5. Then when your receivers get back, or at least Rasheed Rice, you pretty much 11-6 can get in the playoffs, obviously, but you pretty much got to run the table and lose maybe only one more game. But you got the Chargers, you got Washington and Buffalo remaining. So it could, in retrospect, be a must-win. And I also think Mahomes has to play well. Like Mahomes, in his last 18 regular season games, he's only hit 100, and as far as passer rating, 3 times. He's only hit 97 times. Dak light up this Giants defense.
That's a good point.
So I want to see not only a win, but a Mahomes. Obviously, everybody still got faith in him in Kansas City, but it wouldn't be bad for the locker room to see the old Patrick Mahomes return. Thank you.
I made the best.
Drew, I don't. We'll talk about overconfidence. You weren't even close.
You're sitting there amen in all my
going through
comments.
the schedule where you're like, and look at week 9.
You were amen in my comments.
How about when you said it's not a literal must-win, but it could be a literal must-win in 3 months?
In retrospect.
I mean, it's just,
I thought that
The
was
biggest reaction
That
to
should've-
coach's take was me saying canard.
That's true. But that actually supported it.
Okay.
It's 1-0.
This is kind of like the refs doing the tush push. I don't know about
We're
this.
going to head to Chicago. Ben Johnson licking his wounds after his former team dropped 50 on him. In bad news, here comes Dak, whose team just scored 40. Chicago's defense, we talk a lot about Ben Johnson's offense. It's Chicago's defense that has been the problem. They're giving up 10 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. Passer rating for the opposing quarterbacks is at 137. It's worst in the NFL. Wow. Open-ended.
Yeah.
Must win?
Yeah. Brew is going to really regret letting me go first here. Because this is the rare double must win. And just for the record to the audience, anyone else that says that is just copying off of us. For the Cowboys, they have Micah in Green Bay next week. They need to go into that game with some feeling of momentum and feeling of, you know what? We go beat them. You know, we're basically on top of the conference. You know, we lost a heartbreaker to the Eagles in week 1, been rolling ever since. The Bears, on the other hand, everyone's focused on Caleb, and to a lesser extent, Ben Johnson. I'm going to focus on coach's guy, and I say coach's guy just because defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was supposed to be the guy that came there and made the defense even better. Instead, Bears fans are like, man, maybe Matt Eberflus's defense wasn't so bad. Same players, and they weren't getting 50 balled like these guys. Whichever team wins this game is going, the Cowboys will feel great if they do, pardon me. The Bears will feel like, okay, we've steadied ourselves. And whichever team loses this game, it will feel like the sky is falling. Because for the Cowboys, their one win would have come in exciting, but a little lucky fashion in overtime against the Giants. And for the Bears, they obviously wouldn't have a win all year. Double must win.
Solid, but
This is
gettable.
such poetic justice. He steals my phrase, double must win, when it's not a double must win.
It's not?
No.
Oh,
The Bears are done. I've told you guys, and you guys have agreed with me and given me amens, that this season is no longer about the playoffs for the Bears. It is about Caleb. So this is a must-win for the Cowboys, and for Caleb, it's a must play well and show a little electricity. Ooh. All right? Because everybody's looking electric at times against the Cowboys. Jalen, who didn't play great against the Chiefs, was great against the Cowboys with his 2 touchdown runs. Obviously, Russell Wilson had the best game of his career statistically against the Cowboys. Caleb's got to go out there and show something. Give me some signs, man, that you are the guy. And the Cowboys obviously have to win. Here's the thing about the Cowboys. Washington's looking vulnerable. Minnesota's looking vulnerable. Chicago obviously looking vulnerable. If they win this game, the playoffs are there for the taking for the Cowboys. But if you lose this game to the Bears, you can lose to anybody, and then they're not for the taking. So must win plus some electricity needed from Caleb.
You know what this is? This is a good lesson that it's not a must-win the press conference in the offseason. And who is everybody's All-American? Ben Johnson, right? We needed to go and hire the greatest head coaching candidate in the history of the world. And I like what I've seen from Ben Johnson. And then who is everybody's biggest disappointment? Oh my God, the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer. How could they possibly do that? What has he ever done in his career? And here we are, these two young head coaches trying to figure things out. And as much as we're talking about the fans, and that's what you're focused on, it's about the locker room. Because all those players with a new head coach are listening to what they're saying, and if they're not getting rewarded for the work that they put in and the lessons and the things that they were supposed to bring that elevate their game, suddenly it gets a little bit shaky in those locker rooms early for a head coach.
2-0.
Oh! He stole my phrase. Everybody's All-American for the wrong guy.
Is there any phrase you don't have?
Two guys, they twice stole my phrase. I should get that. That was good, though, Michael.
That's what he calls Matt Stafford.
Lions, Ravens. Super Bowl preview, maybe? Right now, both teams 1-1, losing to two teams ahead of them on the committee's tiers. But look at the ranks. Since the start of last season, 1 and 2 in
Drop
points.
the banners.
2 and 1 total yards. Lions 2 and 1 yards per play, and red zone touchdown percentage, third for the Lions, first for the Ravens. Brew, this is a must-win for you. You cannot go down either 3-0 or just get goose-egged in this segment. This is
well,
like
if this is a must-win for me, then it is the triple must-win. Because it's a double must-win for these guys, that's for darn sure. Both of them coming off demoralizing week 1 losses. The Ravens need it. They're at home. All right, the Ravens need – look, their division isn't as tough as we thought it was going to be with the injuries, so it wouldn't put them in playoff jeopardy. But you got the Chiefs coming next, and you got the Chiefs coming again. So 1 and 3 would be on the board. All right?
I missed you.
That is not good. For Detroit, I mean, you put 50 up on the Bears. That's not much.
You prepped for this?
That's not much. It can't be excited. Look, putting a 50 piece on the Bears. Get a brother 50.
No, but it's like where you like one misstep on the pommel horse and then you're just done.
Putting a 50 piece on the Bears does not erase the sour taste from your mouth from what happened on opening night against the Packers. And so they need to be the good team. So double must win, triple must win if you throw me in.
Coach?
Yeah, he just Jordan loved this segment right there. So here's my feeling about this: is you have your Super Bowl last week, right? You're playing your former coordinator, and we don't get enough credit, and we're gonna pay him back, and so then we're gonna score a bunch of points, and then we're gonna dance in the end zone for some choreography that you probably took 45 minutes during practice to get. And guess what? Now you're playing against someone that's a heavyweight. So let's see whether you can battle against a heavyweight as opposed to a club that's
emerging.
Is a very kind way to say it. And so yeah, to me, Detroit's got to show that they can fight with the big boys with the changes that have been made. And it's also a situation where they're going to be chasing Green Bay, and I don't think Baltimore's chasing anybody in their division, even if they lose.
Well, so here's the thing: if Detroit loses, no one will write them off, and we will say, listen, they lost